There is a power more potent than electricity, more magnetic than the pull of gravity, more transformative than fire itself. A power hidden in plain sight, ancient and eternal, accessible to anyone with the courage to harness it. This power built empires. It launched revolutions. It turned ordinary men into giants of industry and obscurity into legacy. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's not some divine roll of the dice. It is intention. It is focus. It is mind, not one mind. But many minds aligned, synchronized, and burning toward one purpose, like the unified rays of the sun through a magnifying glass. This is the power of the master mind. The world teaches you to stand alone, to compete, to isolate, to build your fortress and guard your ideas. But nature tells another story. The eagle soars, yes, but not without the thermals beneath its wings. The lion may hunt alone, but the pride ensures survival. Even the stars in the sky align in constellations. Every success story you've ever heard, every name etched in the granite of history, was powered by more than one mind. Edison had his laboratory of brilliant thinkers. Carnegie had a council of steel-minded strategists. Henry Ford, though he was the face of innovation, had a think tank of engineers, dreamers, and builders. These were not lone wolves. They were leaders of packs, conductors of mental symphonies. There is no such thing as self-made, only mind-made. And the most powerful minds do not work alone. The mastermind is not a meeting. It's not a casual collaboration or a corporate brainstorming session. It is a sacred alliance, a voluntary fusion of intellects, emotions, and energies aimed at one definite goal. It is the mental multiplication of potential. 1 + 1 no longer equals 2. When minds align, it equals 100, 1,000, infinity. When two or more minds come together in perfect harmony, they create something that cannot be bought, faked, or substituted. A third mind, an invisible, intangible force greater than the sum of its parts. This force generates ideas that no single individual could have imagined. It attracts resources, opens doors, and bends reality to intention. Most people are afraid of this power, not because it doesn't work, but because it does. Because once you harness it, there are no excuses left. You can no longer say you didn't know how. You can no longer say you didn't have the connections. You can no longer say you didn't have support. Because the mastermind dissolves all of that. It's not about having the right people. It's about becoming the right person. So the right people are drawn to you, like iron to a magnet, like fire to dry wood. Clarity is the beginning. You cannot form a mastermind around confusion. You must have a definite purpose, a vision so vivid it pulls others into its orbit. People don't follow plans. They follow conviction. They follow fire. When you speak your purpose with unwavering certainty, those who are meant to build with you will hear it like a war drum in the distance. They will rise. But beware, not every voice deserves a seat at your table. The mastermind is not a democracy. It is not for doubters, half-committed dreamers, or intellectual tourists. It is for those who have burned the boats, those who are all in. Because once the minds connect, the energy they release can either build an empire or burn everything to the ground. So choose wisely. Your mastermind must be built on harmony, trust, and unwavering belief in the mission. There must be no hidden agendas, no envy, no ego warfare. Just alignment, just purpose, just a shared hunger that keeps everyone at the table when the storms hit. And storms will come. But when they do, when the winds of doubt howl and the waves of failure crash, the mastermind becomes your lighthouse. It keeps the vision alive when your own mind falters. It speaks life into your spirit when exhaustion sets in. It reminds you of who you are when the world tries to tell you otherwise. Think about Lincoln. He surrounded himself with men who disagreed with him intentionally, not because he wanted conflict, but because he understood that true strength comes from friction refined through shared vision. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. He was not a lone voice shouting in the wilderness. He was the tip of a spear, forged by minds united in a dream that the world said was impossible. You do not rise alone. You rise because you're lifted. And here's the paradox. The moment you give your mind to a purpose greater than yourself, you gain access to something far more powerful. The mastermind is not just about achieving goals. It is about becoming a vessel for an intelligence higher than your own. You become a conductor of inspiration, a channel through which ideas arrive, not from you, but through you. This is how great inventions are born. This is how movements are ignited. This is how legends are made, not in isolation, but in unison. The greatest illusion of modern life is that independence is the goal. That if you just hustle hard enough, grind long enough, suffer silently enough, you'll make it. But let me tell you something, no one makes it alone, and even if they do, they won't stay there. Because empires built by one mind crumble under the weight of one man's exhaustion. True success is sustainable, and sustainability comes from synergy. When you find your mastermind, when you commit to it with every fiber of your being, you create a force field around your destiny. You shield your goals from the entropy of life. You accelerate your progress tenfold. You go from pushing boulders up a hill to having an army behind you, each person a lever, each mind a torch. And that's when the magic happens. That's when impossible starts to look like yesterday's limitation. That's when time bends to your will and opportunity knocks twice, 3 times, endlessly, because your mind is no longer operating in a vacuum. It is vibrating in harmony with the universe. You feel it, don't you? That stirring in your spirit, that whisper saying, there's more. There's a level you haven't touched yet, and you won't get there alone. So let go of pride. Let go of fear. Let go of the belief that you have to be the smartest, the fastest, the strongest. Instead, become the most aligned, the most focused, the most open to collaboration. Because in this age of distraction, the rarest skill is not information, but integration. To form a mastermind is to commit to becoming more than you are, so that you can contribute more than you ever thought possible. And in return, the universe gives you everything. Because the universe does not respond to lone wolves howling in the dark. It responds to resonance, to rhythm, to minds that beat in harmony with a greater cause. That is the frequency of greatness. That is the signal that awakens possibility. Every titan of industry, every revolutionary, every creator who left their fingerprints on time, they all tapped into this. Tesla did not invent in isolation. His mind was in constant dialogue with the forces of nature, with the thoughts of thinkers before him, with financiers and skeptics who shaped his path whether they intended to or not. Walt Disney didn't build his kingdom by sketching alone in a garage. He forged a coalition of artists, visionaries, architects, and believers who saw the invisible and worked relentlessly to make it real. The mastermind is not a luxury. It is not optional. It is the requirement for anyone who dares to dream beyond their current reality. But to access this power, you must bring something to the circle. You must bring hunger. You must bring discipline. You must bring unwavering faith in the vision. Because the mastermind does not tolerate spectators. It does not reward talkers. It rewards builders. It welcomes only those who give as much as they receive, who bring ideas, energy, and effort, who are not intimidated by greatness, but drawn to it, who see the success of another as a signpost, not a threat. In a true mastermind alliance, envy does not survive. Comparison dies. Why? Because everyone in the circle understands if one rises, we all rise. If one wins, we all win. Your victory becomes my momentum. Your breakthrough becomes my blueprint. This is the level of maturity and unity required. It is not emotional cheerleading. It is spiritual engineering. You align not just your goals, but your beliefs. Not just your talents, but your frequencies. And when that alignment is pure, time bends, momentum compounds. A single year of progress can replace a decade of struggle. You stop chasing success and start magnetizing it, but there's a catch. You must let go of your ego completely. You must become small so the mastermind can become large. You must be willing to say, I don't know, so someone else can say, I do. You must be willing to be wrong so the group can be right. Because this is not about you, this is about the mission. And the mission is always bigger than the individual. This is what Andrew Carnegie understood when he built the most formidable steel empire the world had ever seen. He surrounded himself with men who were smarter than him in almost every category. He was not afraid to admit it. In fact, he said it was the very secret to his wealth. He leveraged minds. He didn't control them. He unified them. And in doing so, he became unstoppable. And now ask yourself, are you trying to do everything alone? Are you carrying the weight of your vision on your shoulders, thinking that makes you strong? Or are you wise enough to share the load, to ignite others with the same fire that burns in you? Because your next level is not in more hustle. It's in more alignment. Not in doing more, but in thinking together. The right mastermind will do more than help you grow. It will force you to evolve. It will hold you accountable when your standards drop. It will remind you of your power when you forget who you are. It will demand that you stretch, that you speak truth, that you embody greatness, not as a fantasy, but as your minimum standard. That is what happens when minds unite with purpose. And it's not just strategy, it's alchemy. You go from idea to action with speed and clarity. You move with purpose, not panic. You attract resources because energy follows intention, and the mastermind radiates focused intention like a laser beam. But here's the part most people miss. The mastermind is not just external. It starts within you. Before you gather others, you must gather yourself, your conscious mind, your subconscious beliefs, your habits, your intentions. When your inner world is in conflict, no alliance will save you. But when your inner world is in harmony, when your thoughts, words, and actions are aligned, then and only then can you attract others who resonate at your frequency. You must become the first mind in your mastermind. You must be the flame before you attract the fire. So ask yourself, are you operating in mental harmony, or are you divided by doubt? Are your goals crystal clear, or are they diluted by fear, by distractions, by the noise of a world that wants you average? Because if you are not clear, you cannot lead. And the mastermind requires leaders who can see the mountain, even when the path is hidden by fog. It requires those who speak vision with such conviction that others hear truth in their voice before results ever arrive. This is the art of influence, not manipulation, not hype, alignment. And alignment only comes from truth. When your vision is pure, when your intention is clean, when your desire is backed by discipline, the right minds will come, and they will find you. They will feel the pull of your energy like gravity. They won't ask what's in it for them. They'll ask, how can I build this with you? Because people don't want to be managed. They want to be moved. And the mastermind moves people toward destiny. But remember this, every alliance will be tested. Every mastermind must pass through the fire of adversity, because it is in the fire that unity is proven. And those who endure, those who refuse to fold, those who choose mission over comfort, vision over ego, purpose over pride, those are the alliances that change the world. You do not find them, you forge them. So if you haven't found your mastermind yet, become worthy of it. Level up your discipline, sharpen your vision, refine your message, embody the greatness you seek, and soon the minds you need will arrive, not as luck, but as a response to who you've become, because the mastermind is not something you chase, it's something you attract. It's the consequence of your transformation, the byproduct of becoming undeniable. When you radiate purpose, you draw people who are tired of wandering. When you embody discipline, you attract warriors, not wanderers. When you burn with belief, you set other souls on fire. And when that alignment finally happens, and when the minds you've attracted lock in with yours, time slows down and the impossible starts to look predictable. You're no longer pushing, you're pulled by shared vision, pulled by collective desire, pulled by something deeper than words, something ancient. A truth that echoes from the Great Pyramids to the skyscrapers of New York. A truth whispered in the battlefields of revolution, painted on cave walls carved into stone. Unity creates miracles. In a true mastermind, everyone becomes more than they were. Your weaknesses are covered by another's strength. Your blind spots are lit by another's wisdom. Your doubts are shattered by another's faith. This is the rarest kind of alliance, not built on convenience, but on conviction. Not on titles or status, but on values, on trust, on the unshakable belief that we rise together or we don't rise at all. And this belief, this we over me mindset, it changes how you move through life. You stop chasing validation. You stop fighting battles alone. You stop confusing being busy with being effective. Because now every step is fueled by collective genius, every decision amplified by multiple lenses, every obstacle attacked with the force of not one will, but many. And suddenly you see things differently. You no longer fear challenges, you dissect them. You no longer avoid pressure, you welcome it because pressure reveals what's real. And inside your mastermind, you want the pressure. You invite the heat because you know that's where diamonds form. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's where average minds crack, but masterminds forge legacy. Look at the great movements of the past. They were not solo acts. The civil rights movement didn't rest on one man's shoulders. It was powered by a coalition. King, Abernathy, Parks, Lewis, and countless unnamed warriors who stood in locked arms under fire, unified by one vision. That unity was the mastermind. Look at Apple. Jobs had Wozniak, brilliance multiplied. Look at SpaceX. Musk doesn't build rockets alone. He leads minds, engineers, strategists, dreamers, all locked on one mission, to reach the stars. That's the truth the world keeps forgetting. Greatness is not just ambition, it's collaboration. But not just any collaboration, not just handshakes and Zoom calls. Real mastermind collaboration is spiritual. It's energetic. It's magnetic. It's the kind of connection that can't be faked or forced. It's built through fire, through repetition, through shared vision, and earned trust. You can't cheat your way into it. You can't network your way into it. You must become it. And then, like a tuning fork, you'll begin to resonate with others on the same frequency. This is the secret the average never learn. You don't rise by being the loudest. You rise by vibrating at the level of destiny. And when you do, your mastermind appears, not just as people, but as portals. Each person becomes a gateway, a new perspective, a new solution, a new resource. One brings insight, another brings execution, another brings connections. Together you are no longer building, you are accelerating. This is how fortunes are made in silence. This is how revolutions are birthed in backrooms. This is how empires are born, not on stages, but in the alignment of minds behind closed doors, where decisions shape decades. So if you're still trying to go at it alone, understand this: you are wasting time. There is no badge of honor in solo struggle, and there is no glory in burnout. You are not more noble because you carry the weight alone. You are simply more exhausted. And exhausted minds don't win. They hesitate, they doubt, they retreat. But empowered minds, they advance, they create, they conquer. And there's one more truth you must absorb. The mastermind protects your dream from your weaker self, because no matter how strong you are, there will be days you want to quit, days when the mountain feels too steep, days when your mind whispers, maybe this isn't for you. And that's when your alliance saves you. That's when another voice speaks louder than your fear. And that's when someone says, I see you. I see what this means. You don't get to quit, not on my watch. And just like that, your fire is reignited. And that's the power of proximity. That's the power of brotherhood, of sisterhood, of bonded purpose. It turns silence into strategy. It turns setbacks into comebacks. It turns personal ambition into collective mission. And collective mission, that's where the real magic lives. Because once a vision becomes bigger than you, nothing can stop it. Not rejection, not failure, not delay. Because the mission no longer depends on one person. It's been anchored in many. It's been multiplied, fortified, made unstoppable. This is not theory, this is law. And those who understand this law, who live by it, who commit to it, they rise. While others fall into the trap of isolation, ego, and self-reliance, the mastermind builders elevate with speed and certainty. Because they are not alone. They are backed. They are reinforced. They are protected by purpose and powered by many minds acting as one. So here's the challenge for you. Look around. Who are you surrounded by? Do they sharpen you or do they soothe your mediocrity? Do they challenge your limitations or validate your excuses? Do they believe in your vision so deeply that they'd fight for it with you? If not, you haven't found your mastermind yet. But don't panic. You don't need to beg for it. You don't need to chase it. You need to become worthy of it. And how do you do that? By becoming the kind of person you would follow, by speaking with clarity, by moving with discipline, by radiating purpose with such intensity that others feel elevated simply by being near you. Because when you rise into that version of yourself, the minds you're meant to meet, they will arrive. The minds you're meant to meet, they will arrive, not by accident, not by coincidence, but as a consequence of your becoming, because energy doesn't lie, purpose doesn't hide, and greatness never walks alone for long. When you become aligned within, fully congruent, fully clear, fully committed, the mastermind finds you. Like rivers feeding into an ocean, all aligned purpose flows toward union, toward multiplication, toward explosion, and when it does, the game changes. You stop thinking in terms of weeks and start building for centuries. You stop worrying about competition and start focusing on collaboration. You stop measuring progress by speed and start measuring it by alignment, because aligned action backed by a united mind is the most potent force on earth. This is how movements begin. This is how industries are redefined. This is how one voice becomes many, and that choir echoes through time. But here's the deeper truth that most people miss. The mastermind isn't always obvious. Sometimes it starts with a single conversation. Sometimes it looks like resistance, a heated disagreement that forges mutual respect. Sometimes it arrives as a challenge, someone who won't let you settle for less than your potential. It doesn't always feel like harmony at first, but growth rarely does. The mastermind doesn't want your comfort. It wants your evolution. It wants the version of you that doesn't make excuses, that doesn't run when pressure rises, that doesn't hide behind doubt or fear or one day. Because the mastermind doesn't operate on one day, it operates on now. It demands presence. It demands urgency. It demands that you bring everything you are, your scars, your brilliance, your hunger, your humility, to the table. And in exchange, it offers you something rare, exponential power. It's the power of ideas that are born in conversation and brought to life through execution. It's the power of encouragement that turns hesitation into motion. It's the power of vision that refuses to shrink, because it is now owned by many, not just one. This is why isolation is the enemy, because alone your fears grow louder. Alone your doubts find room to echo. Alone your progress becomes fragile, easily broken by circumstance, distraction, or fatigue. But with a mastermind behind you, you become fortified. Storms don't break you, they build you. Setbacks don't stop you, they sharpen you. Because you are no longer just one. You are many, united in belief, in vision, in relentless pursuit of something greater than any one person. And here's what happens next. You stop seeing limits. You stop asking if and start asking how. You stop shrinking your dream to fit your surroundings and start expanding your surroundings to match your dream. You begin to speak differently. You move with certainty. You make decisions not out of fear, but out of alignment. Because when the minds around you are clear, grounded, and mission-driven, indecision dies. This is how empires are born, not just in brick and steel, but in belief systems. Shared belief is the infrastructure of success, and the mastermind, it's the architect. So if you want to build something that lasts, if you want to create something bigger than you, if you want to rise beyond the noise and become a force that history cannot ignore, then you must commit fully, fiercely, and without hesitation to the mastermind principle, not just as an idea, but as a way of life. Because once you've experienced it, once you've been lifted, challenged, refined, and expanded by the minds around you, you'll never settle for less again. You'll never go back to walking alone. You'll never again believe the lie that you must suffer in silence or succeed in solitude. No, you'll rise in collaboration. You'll thrive in connection. And you'll finally understand the truth that Napoleon Hill echoed over and over. No two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind. That third mind, that greater mind, is the true engine of greatness, and it's waiting for you. But it does not wait forever. It waits for the bold. It waits for the decisive. It waits for those who stop playing small and finally say, I will rise, I will lead, I will build my mastermind. So rise, lead, building. Because you were never meant to do this alone. You were never meant to do this alone, because deep within you there is a knowing, a pull, a fire, a silent voice that has always whispered, you are meant for more. And now you know how. The mastermind is the bridge between who you were and who you must become, the bridge between potential and power, between dreaming and manifesting, between wishing and building. This is no longer about motivation. This is about alignment with destiny. The question is no longer, can I do it? The question is, who must I become to attract the minds who will magnify this vision? Because the mastermind doesn't come to the scattered. It doesn't come to the half-committed. It doesn't come to the ones who tiptoe around their calling. It comes to the obsessed, the driven, the ones who wake up with fire in their chest and refuse to let that flame die in silence. It comes to the bold who speak the vision out loud. It comes to the ones who invest in becoming undeniable. It comes to those who choose clarity over chaos, purpose over popularity, and impact over ego. And when that choice is made, not once, but every single day, the mastermind begins to form. One person, then another. Like gravity pulling stars into orbit, your frequency begins to organize chaos. You begin to attract minds, not followers, but forces. People with grit in their teeth and conviction in their eyes. People who don't care how hard it is, they care that it's worth it. And you know what happens next? Momentum. Sudden, violent, unstoppable. Your vision begins to take on a life of its own, no longer just in your mind. Now it lives in others. Now it walks in meetings, in strategy calls, in late-night brainstorms, and early morning execution. Now it is carried, multiplied, scaled, and now you're dangerous because you're no longer dependent on willpower alone. You are backed by a master force, by minds aligned, by souls in sync, by a mission shared. No enemy can break that. No failure can stop that. No resistance can resist that. That is the unstoppable force the world has always feared, the unified minds of those who refuse to settle. And let me tell you what else happens when you commit to the mastermind. You begin to lead with humility and authority. You listen more, you absorb more, you sharpen, because greatness in a mastermind isn't about control, it's about contribution. You don't need to be the smartest in the room. You need to build the room that makes everyone smarter. That's real power, that's real leadership. That's how legacies are written. Look at Carnegie. He wasn't the engineer, he wasn't the builder, but he gathered the greatest minds in steel and led an empire. Look at Ford. He didn't invent the car, but he revolutionized the system because he had minds around him who could help him think beyond the moment. Even Edison, the man of 1,000 patents, had a team. He had thinkers, builders, believers. His inventions were born from collaboration, not isolation. Why? Because they knew what you now know. One mind can spark a dream, but it takes many minds to build a destiny. So if you've been doubting, if you've been spinning your wheels in isolation, if you've been trying to carry it all yourself, the vision, the stress, the setbacks, the hope, it's time to elevate. Because your next level won't be unlocked by working harder alone. It will be unlocked by thinking higher, together. And to do that, you must decide. You must decide that you're no longer available for mediocre conversations, that you're done with low-frequency energy, that you're done with people who shrink your vision and smile while doing it. You must decide to build your inner circle with surgical precision, not based on popularity, but on principles. Not based on hype, but on alignment. You must decide to become the gravitational force that pulls greatness into your orbit, not because you chase it, but because you are it. And when you decide that, everything changes, because now you don't just have hope, you have leverage. Now you don't just have motivation, you have momentum. Now you don't just have a dream, you have a movement. So step into your calling, build your alliance, lock arms with those who are obsessed with elevation. And remember, you don't rise alone. You rise with your mastermind, and when you do, there is nothing on this earth that can stop you.